a smear of infrared static that was all it appeared to be at first. For telescopes scattered between Chile, Hawaii, and a weary weather satellite caught the same ghost-cold blot drifting across the Milky Way's crowded canvas. It shone too dim for a star, carried too much mass for an asteroid, and moved far too fast for anything born of our sun. Within 48 hours, analysts at JPL cracked the trajectory. A rogue planet, roughly 5/6 Earth's heft, was barreling into the inner solar system on a collision course. The clock read 9 months to impact. And for the first time in history, humanity agreed on one thing: we were living on borrowed time. Long before any microbe wriggled in Earth's primordial soup, our planet had already endured a planetary smash-up. Roughly 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized wanderer scientists later nicknamed Dea slammed into the newborn Earth, splintering crust and mantle like shattered glass. Most of they're fused with us. The debris rapidly coalesced into the Moon. Recent supercomputer models suggest that entire cataclysm unfolded in mere hours. A reminder that a single blindside can rewrite a world's destiny in the blink of cosmic time. Tonight's intruder, however, shared no kinship with us. It was a loner, born in darkness, loyal to nothing, and utterly merciless. Astronomers once believed planets traced polite, orderly ellipses. Modern simulations tell a messier tale. In crowded stellar nurseries, planetary embryos jostle like marbles in a shoebox. A close pass with a gas giant or a shove from a neighboring star can fling a young world into interstellar exile. Recent population studies even hint that free-floating planets may outnumber stars. Most remain invisible unless they lens a background sun or stray across a detector at just the right angle. Ours managed both. It emerged from a dust-sparse gulf between Sagittarius and Scorpius, wearing a cloak of frozen nitrogen that made it nearly invisible till sheer velocity turned its trailing debris into sparks against the void. The discovery rattled science, but its impact on geopolitics and faith proved harsher. Emergency summits popped up in encrypted conference rooms, while social feeds exploded with #RogueDoom memes. Influencers dismissed the threat as a hoax, waving doctored telescope feeds. Billionaires funded audacious gravity tractor schemes, only to learn they would require propellant masses larger than the Moon. Commodity markets spiked fivefold, then crashed as cyberwar flared over classified orbital data. Meanwhile, coastal tide gauges logged millimeter-scale bulges, and GPS satellites drifted centimeters off script subtle whispers that the menace was no illusion. With 6 months remaining, 2 survival blueprints crystallized. The first was escape. Convert every heavy-lift rocket into an Ark bound for Mars or the Jovian moons. Even if each booster ferried 500 passengers, the final headcount barely topped 200,000 seats, the cruelest lottery ever conceived. The second plan was to endure, dig. Governments repurposed metro tunnels into pressure vaults, and billionaire clans leased Antarctic lava tubes. Yet leaked memos revealed a bleak equation. If planetary cores merge, nothing within 1,000 miles of the surface survives. Underground bunkers might resist blast waves and ejecta, but they could not withstand Earth itself liquefying. Escape ships would find their trajectories shredded long before launch. Public morale cracked. New cults promised transcendence, while black market vendors sold impact-proof tonics-flavored sugar water that outsold soda for a month. 50 days out, nature started writing on the sky. The Rogue pierced the Kuiper Belt, trailing a storm of ice shards that peppered Jupiter's moons. High-altitude radar saw the magnetosphere wobble. Auroras shimmered over Cairo and Mumbai. Weekly king tides escalated into persistent coastal floods. An airliner bound for Los Angeles encountered stratospheric shear strong enough to bend its fuselage. Commercial aviation soon grounded itself worldwide. Deep mines groaned as torsional stresses rippled through bedrock once thought unbreakable. When the invader crossed the Moon's orbit, the fabric of daily life shredded. Ocean bulges swelled eightfold. Manhattan drowned beneath a silver plane that lapped halfway up Times Square billboards. Compass needles whipped 90 degrees in seconds. The International Space Station fought tidal torques that left its crew nauseated and off course. Half the world's satellites tumbled into fiery re-entry streaks that etched dusk with incandescent scars. Power grids fell out of phase as Earth's rotational rhythm wobbled. Tectonic plates began to hum, and subaudible vibrations recorded in the Himalayas grew into quakes so vast they ruptured continental shields once deemed eternal. The approaching planet ballooned in the sky, bruised purple and massive, devouring entire constellations. Children in hilltop camps asked whether it was a second moon. Parents simply held them tighter. Every volcano in the Ring of Fire erupted within hours. Ash columns punched past the stratosphere, and thunderheads crackled with electric veins bright enough to blind unshielded cameras. The continents themselves seemed to breathe in fear. At last, the atmospheres kissed. Adiabatic compression set oxygen ablaze, metals flashed to plasma, and the Atlantic boiled into superheated steam that escaped to the edge of space. A shockwave wrapped the globe in 17 minutes, flattening forests on the far side before the roar even arrived. Earth's spin decelerated by a fifth almost instantly, wrenching continents like loose train cars. Mountain chains split. Magma sheets surged through fresh wounds as if the planet were bleeding fire. The moon's orbit unraveled and wandered toward a chaotic escape. Even had electronics remained, they would have died beneath a magnetic storm 1,000,000 times fiercer than any solar flare. Silence followed save for magma, hail drumming upon oceans that no longer knew where down lay. In the stillness, incandescent debris fanned around the hybrid core. Over centuries, it might gather into a shattered ring or a pale new moon. Surface temperatures would cool, crust would solidify, and perhaps microbial life would claw its way back in hydrothermal vents. Yet every archive of human triumph and folly had fused into the seam where two worlds became one. Historians, poets, skeptics all, gone in a single flash brighter than reason. The universe scarcely noticed. Still, the cataclysm forced a reckoning during the frantic months before impact. Astronomers drafted an unspoken epitaph: "We should have watched harder." Modern sky surveys do scan the darkness, but budgets fray and politics drifts. The European Space Agency's Gaia mission refines stellar motions that could flag stealth interlopers decades ahead. NASA's upcoming Roman telescope promises to detect hundreds of rogue planets through microlensing, and even Euclid, designed for dark energy studies, has shown it can sniff out drifters several times Jupiter's mass. Each observatory widens the moat of forewarning. Every funding cut shrinks it to a puddle. Space is mostly empty, and that vacancy keeps us safe most nights. The miracle isn't cosmic peace, it is cosmic luck. Every sunrise is a statistical reprieve granted by gravitational etiquette we barely comprehend. Look up tonight, not in fear, but in fierce gratitude. The stars will keep their distance until one doesn't. Our task, while fortune holds, is plain. Treasure the fragile hours. Fund the watchtowers, and remember how swiftly everything can change when a silent shadow chooses our sky.